Blessed data. Okay, so somebody did a great amount of testing and they basically organized a breakdown on how damage is calculated across the board. Like, for example, if you have gun strike damage, when does it show up in your, your damage stats? And overall, this is a really good breakdown. I think blessed data is a pretty good way to put this, but I know the poster of this really wanted to go through and find as many details from how you actually calculate certain aspects of damage in this game across the board. This is a really good data post. So I felt like this one was a good educational post to kind of break down and show you guys. I think this is definitely something that is going to be very useful to how you pick your damage sources and exactly what to expect from them. As part of my omniscient training and sabbatical in anticipation for my ascension as a tech marine, the presiding Magos has tasked me with the duty of providing war gear data through rigorous testing in simulated combat conditions. Here are my findings. Okay, can we get more roleplay in these posts? Because this is kind of sick. I'm getting pretty immersed in this, but okay, yeah. Let's continue. Methodology. Load into Inferno on Ruthless and use a single instance of damage on an isolated Tyranid warrior, then cease all actions and die, ending the simulation. All character and weapon perks are set to avoid temporary modifiers in cases where damage was necessary for setup. I would use only melee for one control test, then only ranged for another control test. Yeah, this is a perfect way to do it. Findings. When geared as an assault, taking the time to hold and aim a ground pound in the air for as long as possible has no effect on the resulting damage unless the diligence perk is equipped. This is contrary to my previous belief. Praise be the Omniscience as I wander in search of truth. All right, let's hold on. Okay, let me take a moment here to checkpoint this specifically. That's interesting. That means if you have the option as Assault to just like jump up and down and keep slamming, you're not going to affect your damage as fast as you do that. Yeah, this is something that I think we talked about like months ago, but I've been using that charged, the extra damage from the charged slam. I've been using that perk quite often, but still, you can definitely get some good slams in siege mode where you can get your cooldown back on taking out a couple gaunts. So essentially, if you don't have the perk that gives you extra damage on charge, you essentially could just jump up and down as much as you can, and you won't lose any DPS for it. That is definitely good to know. Gun strike damage is not reported in your data catalog at the end of the mission as melee nor ranged damage. Some Astartes are known to execute the gun strike technique while their armor data reports an ammunition count of 0. What other techniques exist that can cause damage through faith and belief alone? Oh, okay, that's a fair point. They're saying because you can get gun strikes without having any ammo, that kind of makes sense why the damage doesn't count. I see what they're saying. Because, yeah, that is essentially kind of a thing that is unique to gun strikes only. No, I understand, like, how that is definitely an interesting application, and makes sense. I get what they're getting at there. Gun strikes using the Inferno pistol do appear to deal AoE damage with the blast, as if it were a normal shot. Though I admit I only attested this impressionistically, seeing multiple gaunts die from one gun strike. Okay, so their first impression was, getting a gun strike, hitting the Inferno pistol, and multiple gaunts die. I mean, the AoE for the Inferno pistol gun strike is pretty interesting. I think the plasma also has AoE, I believe. This doesn't contribute to range damage either way. Okay, wow, that's wild, but yeah, makes sense. I would consider like maybe AoE splash to be considered range damage on a gun strike, but nah, that's fair. That's fair. Very, very consistent. Grenades are cataloged as range damage. The same is likely true for fragmentation grenades are cataloged as range damage. The same is likely true for other equipment. The Scorching Burn from Wings of Flame is cataloged as melee damage. What? Wings of Flame is cataloged as melee damage. Okay, this is interesting. The takeoff damage from Ascension, however, is not cataloged at all. Yeah, dude, honestly, I love Ascension. Ascension is pretty cool. Ascension is a perk with the Assault class where if you use your jetpack to jump up in the air, you get like damage from that, and it's honestly pretty nice for breakpoints. But it's cool, it's fun. Okay, other unconventional melee damage. Intimidating aura. That makes sense. Grapple launcher. So you're getting melee damage for grapple launcher. That's interesting. Zone of impact. Offensive capability is melee damage? What? Dude, okay, this is like one of my favorite perks for melee, for heavy. Also pretty good for melee heavy, where your shield does damage to enemies that are basically near it or touching it. Wow, okay, that's interesting. Other unconventional range damage, the shock field from defensive advantage and emergency countermeasure. All right, I think I knew this one. Other uncatalogued damage, armor of contempt, killing a leaping minoress. Really? That's uncatalogued damage. Oh, well, that makes sense, I guess. Yeah, that's like an execution. Is that uncatalogued? Oh, yeah, right here, executions. Parrying, friendly fire, among the enemy. That makes sense. Defensive mastery. Purity of purpose is uncatalogued. Wow. That's unfortunate. I mean, that's fine, but it's like the perk is so good. Imagine how high your damage would be afterwards. Damage from environmental hazards or shock. Dude, the damage I'm doing in games really isn't as cataloged as I thought, dude. I'm pulling away with, like, you know, some games I have low damage, some games I have high damage, but, like, overall the stats are still the same. Like, I'll still take out, like, a whole bunch of special enemies and all that sort of thing. And, like, not go down. Whatever. It doesn't really matter. But, yeah, I still use, like, purity of purpose quite a bit. You know, armor of contempt is pretty cool. Offensive capability I use quite a bit. Intimidating aura, yep, yeah, I use that. Defensive mastery as well. This is pretty interesting. Radiating impact is not cataloged. That's insane, dude. What? Really? Oh, that's unfortunate. I want to see the damage from some of these perks, man. Signal Jammer, Wrath of the Imperium. Dude, yeah, Wrath of the Imperium is one I've been using a lot recently. Damage to vines. Yeah, that's fine, I guess. Wow. All right. Well, that's really good data. Holy cow. And findings. Now, this is a great post by Triceratops, which is pretty sick. I definitely enjoyed reading this one. There's a lot of good info here. Please input further request for war gear testing below. And I also like the way they put this post through the perspective of somebody from, like, the 40K universe. Like, it's from the perspective of somebody on the battle barge. That's pretty sick. May the Omnissiah and the Emperor, being one and the same, bless your endeavors with illumination. Yes, for the Emperor. Great post. Let's go into the comments to see if anyone has anything to add or maybe correct, but honestly, everything here seems pretty consistent. Very, very good post. While my faith is righteous and pure enough to slay the foul Xenos, I do wish the chroniclers would record this way of purging the Xenos just as dutifully as other methods of purging Xenos. This guy's asking for gun strikes to be put on her damage card. I agree. Dude, holy cow. If people kept doing this, like, role play on the post, oh, man, it's going to be pretty interesting trying to figure out what people are saying. But, yeah, this guy's asking for gun strikes to be put on the damage cards, and, yeah, I agree. There are battle brothers whose whole training has revolved around concentrating their faith into a single devastating attack, yet their deeds go unrecorded and unhonored. Dude, okay, I love also basically saying that if you do a gun strike without any ammo, it's just pure faith. It's just pure faith for the Emperor that bullet is coming from. That's crazy. Gun strikes, man, gun strikes for the Emperor. It's very, very interesting to see gun strikes scale with your faith for the Emperor. Very good intel, brother, from Adeptus Mechanicus. You did well. I hope you already registered on the holy website of Focus Together to do a proper report as you are shown here. Don't know if devs will add all those damages as final scoreboard for each of us. That may not help the machine spirit to add numbers to numbers, if you see what I mean, but I'm not devs. Pray the Omnissiah, brother. Yeah, I'm not sure if the devs should consider adding some of these perks for damage. I think gun strikes. Like, do the simple stuff first and then see how it goes. It would be kind of cool to see more stats overall to kind of like see how many times you used your, you know, your skills, your abilities and stuff. That would be kind of cool. The damage from your abilities would also be cool, but yeah, overall, I'm not too sure how any of that kind of lines up. And let's be honest, there's a lot on the plate of the devs at the moment, and I kind of want to see them follow through with some corrections to the game. But yeah, it's like every other day, connections kind of get better, get worse. It's weird. I just had some good runs, so if you guys are following up my video from the rant video I just had, I'm not as not as crashing out as that one. I just had a good run, and it felt really fun. Dude, I really enjoy this game. Okay, nobody goes into damage calculations if a game isn't fun. Like, we all really, really enjoy the game, and we love talking about it. And overall, this was a great post that showed us some insight to the way damage is calculated and what isn't even calculated. And I think this would be kind of cool to revisit maybe one day to see if the devs ever decide to add in like more stats. But yeah, I can imagine trying to track the stats from like purity of purpose can be pretty exhausting. I can imagine for the game itself to actually track all the stats from like Wrath of the Imperium, gun strikes, everything all within the same umbrella of damage. I can imagine it can get pretty weird. But yeah, dude, it's pretty cool to see what is kept track of and what's not kept track of, so you're not too worried about how much damage you're doing. If you're using a lot of Purity of Purpose, some Wrath of the Imperium, Radiating Impact, if you're using all those perks, they're all still great perks. It's just not showing up on your card. I don't think anyone's really that concerned with that. Ultimately, I think when they see something like Radiating Impact work, I think they know it's working, you know? It would be kind of cool though, still. I just think it would be kind of cool to like see more stats from the end card, but hey, we'll see what the devs are capable of doing. And thank you again, Poster, for that, because this was a great, we need to see more posts like this. This was a good one that kind of went in between the lines with damage to see what is actually kept track of. But honestly, all those perks that they mentioned, pretty good perks. And dude, yeah, gun strikes. Gun strikes, it is kind of funny. They should be tracked, I think. They should be. If anything on this post should be tracked, it's the gun strikes. But yeah, let me know in the comments how you guys feel about this, and thanks for watching.